Okay, welcome back to the Frame Mindset Podcast. My name is Concept Books, and this episode we'll talk about that's one of those things where you know coming out and trying to find my way. Just all these stuff, and self-made entrepreneurs talking about and colleges, this and that, and all this stuff. And that's one of those things where I realize that coming reaching this point. And the working world now, you're working with older people, younger people, and all those stuff. I had to realize, and I'm going through the experience of this work and realizing that, my perspective in that area was a minority at that era at that time. But at that era at that time because my so what would be is that my knowledge or my views would not makes would be was less appreciated at that space because what I was surrounded by most people who are in the hustlers mentality. How the hustlers mentality is just basically trying to get that check and hurry up, hustle. Hustle is, you play basketball, hustle is you're out here rushing to get the stuff. You're hustling, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what happens is that, the issue is you can't say you want to be rich and then not doing rich things. Rich, the rich is people don't hustle. You know, that was one of the things that I'm going through that praise talking to the person and it's like, yo, I'll come here to work for the money. Are you working to be poor or are you working to be rich? So that was one of the thing where you come in and what happens that you have different mentalities and they're not wrong. Just that certain mentality can get you to the next level. But at the same time doesn't mean that their mentality is wrong. It's just that you have to understand that where they're coming from. The thing is that where I'm going, where I'm trying to go, the hustler's mentality is good and all, but at the same time, I have to be level headed and make sure I understand what I'm doing to make best use of the opportunity. The hustler's mentality is just basically you coming in, just find your way in a spot and just try to make some money and all those stuff. But what happens that we really think about the skill, how to make extra thing is just like oh you're hustling. You're not really thinking like a business minded person and all those stuff. So basically what this episode is like, boom, you're going in and you have the self-made entrepreneur. You come out of university, boom, and you say, you apply for a job, and this job is like for a person that left high school and build up his business and all those stuff. But because he built up the business and then you leave university and all that stuff, and then you're working for him, there is like, oh, the fact that there's a and they could be undermining that the high school person won because the university person has to work for the person or something like that. But at the same time, what this episode is saying that regardless of what level, if you left from primary school, high school, or university level, bachelor's level, which I did, master's level or PhD level, each level, no matter which level you leave, you have to find a way to make money and all those stuff. You have to find a way to convert that knowledge or stuff into some value. So it's like it's just one of those things that reach a level where one of those stuff where it can be like, yo, it it when you reach certain levels of say certain levels is not that they're wrong. You're just realizing that, regardless if they're right or wrong, you yourself, you personally yourself, have to find a way to make ends meet. So if it means that you're going to work for the person look down on you because you could not do that, yeah, that's you have to make ends meet. But what will happen is that maybe eventually over time working, you find your own lane, and then boom, you just propel off. But you just needed that start. You just need that start. And what will happen is that boom, because of that start, you can influence. But the thing is that the thing is that no matter which level you go, you have to actually be able to make ends meet. And what will happen is that the same thing again about levels. Boom, you become a self-made entrepreneur, and come out of high school and you say boom, you get a car, house, successful business and all those stuff. What you realize over time is that there's a gap. There's a gap. That's what I realized on this journey is that there's a gap to what a level can bring. In the sense that boom, this level, say I have this work now or this job, but this nice work now. After a while, all the benefits that I can get from the work, given IST and all this stuff, will be capped, where I will have to actually try to go to another level to get something else. Just like the bachelor's level gave me as much as I can, the next level would be for me to actually turn my bachelor's knowledge into something that can make money. You know, they have the first era where I'm working now, employing all these stuff and reaping all the blessings. But the next level would be, say, boom, turn that into a way where you can start business. Just to proof of concept, break this thing and say, oh, this and that. Yeah, that will be the next level. What I say is that is the thing is that it don't happen overnight. These self-made billionaire people are self-made entrepreneurs as of coming out of high school and stuff. You really see their story, you realize that the whole of their 20s is just basically, eating trash food and then boom in their 30s trying to recoup whatever hell they have and all those stuff. And that's true. And, in this phase of my life, it's kind of somewhat the same. Right now, I'm trying to work to get more healthy food and stuff. But at the same time, what happened is that boom, this self-made entrepreneur, boom, make his billionaire stuff. Then what happens is that when your health fail, you have to go to a doctor that studies medicine at a university for 5 years and all those stuff. You have to just basically go back there and basically treat himself to keep himself healthy and all those stuff. Get advice. You would go back to a high school person looking for health advice about how to stay longer. You would try to get the best you make the money to try to get the best person. So that's where that maturity comes in, where I realize at that level, going through that experience, where I realize that no matter who you are, primary level and all those stuff, you have to find a way to make ends meet, whichever level you use cap. You have to find a way to make ends meet, but at the same time, certain levels can only give you so much. Like it's good if you want to stay at that level. There's nothing wrong with say, okay, boom, you have your come out, drop out of high school, become a self-made billionaire, and all those stuff, and that is your level that you want to stay at. There's nothing wrong with that. But boom, at that, what you realize is that at a certain point, benefits of a level is exhausted, and it's either you say, okay, I'm going to just chill at this level or decide that you're going to go to another level. But at a certain point, certain level can only offer you certain stuff. But at the same time, everybody at each level have to find a way to fend for themselves. So me with a bachelor's or whatever, yes, can come out and say, oh, looking down on it, but I have to find a way to make ends meet. And if that means that I have to go back, I had to go back to one of my someone high school to get competent resume building because what I never take the time to actually go through that process to actually build a competent resume. Or I needed a push to actually get me into the working world. Yo, it's just one of those loss or one of those things you have to just take on the way and say, okay, yo, that is the reality to build yourself up. And yeah, that's the thing where it's like, yo, at the end of the day, everybody have to make ends meet. Just that problem is on the journey, ups and down. That's basically the journey. Ups and down, you may be winning one day, then boom, you're losing one day. Is the journey is up and down. It's not stagnant. It's not stagnant. But as as I realized, once you have life, once you wake up the next day, you have the opportunity to just change that. You have the opportunity to just change that. And anything can happen. Just once you have life, just have the opportunity to just change that. So that's basically for this episode where it's like, yo, basically what it's saying that um don't get caught up in the high school or school accolades in the sense that you are university or whatever accolades where in the sense that you're priding yourself on it. But at the same time, don't be a person that okay say yes, I'm gonna be like a person that said I'm not going to work for these stuff. So I'm not going to work for these stuff because my hustler's mentality or my entrepreneur or my natural ability will get me where I want to go and all those stuff, because what will happen is that that complacency will just translate over and over and then will reach a gap that you can't get. And then that's how it goes. That's how it goes. So it's like, yo, you have to just put in the you have to put regardless if in high school or in the entrepreneur world or whatever, or the working world, business owner world, the science world. You have to actually put in the work. That, that's that's literally you have to actually just put in the work. It can't be number one not putting in the work. That's basically it. You can't be number one not putting in the work. So yeah, with that being said, that's basically it for this episode. Thank you for listening and look forward for the next episode.